Well, welcome. This is a one-year review since I have purchased the Fuji GFX 100 version 2. I just say almost a year. It's been about 11 months. And so I thought it'd be appropriate to do a review on this. A few people have asked me that. And so after a year of shooting pictures, I want to give you my assessment. Now, for 10 years, I was a Canon Explorer Light. I used the Canon system for over 20 years. And very happy with Canon and with the cameras that I used over the years. And I think the R5 that I ended up with, which I still have, I have my whole system still, incredible camera. All the lenses that I've had, the 50-1.2, the 85-1.2, all the tilt shift lenses and everything I've had, it's been incredible. But here's the issue. For 20 years, stitching and doing HDR and treating my full frame digital camera like a medium format camera. You have to put things in perspective. When I started out studying photography, I was gonna be a landscape photographer, but I started out with a large format. Well, in high school, I dabbled with 35 medium format and also 4x5. But by the time I got really serious, I wanted to be, a landscape, large format guy. And so, but that wasn't long before I ended up buying a medium format. I was 19 years old. I painted houses all summer, $5 an hour. And I was driving a $300 car, and I spent $3,500 on a Mamiya RB system, used, but it was, I think, 3 lenses and a body, a couple backs and a Polaroid back. And that camera I used for 20 years. And I don't want to tell you how much money I billed through that camera, but it was a lot. And so my dad said to me, "What are you spending all this money on this camera for?" And at the time he thought it was ridiculous. It turned out to be an incredible investment. But I shot medium format for many years, and then I went to an RZ system, and then before digital came along, I was almost all RZ. And then I shot a lot of 4x5 film, shot about almost 7,000 sheets of film with that camera. Or that type of film. And probably in total I've shot at least 10,000 sheets of 4x5. So I'm used to a camera on a tripod. I'm used to the slowing down. I'm used to the quality that I'm looking. So I'm taking my 35mm Canons and I'm trying to make them into a medium format and using tilt shift lenses and things that I've done. And so that is behind me now, because now I have a camera with one click that has a full 100 megapixels plus a 16-bit capture. We'll explain a little bit in a minute. And so when this system came out, my son bought one, and he's in LA, he's a car photographer. And when I saw it, I thought, oh, wait, this is what I need. I'm tired of stitching and doing HDR. I've paid my dues with that. So I picked it up. So let me explain. I picked up 4 lenses. The 20 to 35, which is the wide angle side of things. And the 20mm gives me, because it's full frame, probably about a 16-17mm angle of view. So it's I love wide angle. So it's wide. It's not probably as wide as I would like in certain situations, but for most of what I need, it's working out very well. The second lens I bought them all at once, but I picked up the 32 to 64. So it's kind of the mid-range zoom, mid-range to wide. And then I have the 80-1.7, absolutely stunning lens. I shoot it wide open all the time. And the 110 f2. So those are the 4 lenses that are the Fuji line. It pretty much does everything. Now, I just went to Nigeria, and I went, 14 days, but about 11 days in the country, 12 days in the country. And I only took these 3 lenses because this is a little bit heavy, and I don't use it as much as the 80-1.7. It surprises me, because I would have thought I would, because this has incredible bokeh, but this does too. But I like getting close up to my subjects and giving a little more environmental behind me, even though it's bokeh, soft bokeh. I'm really drawn to this lens. And so this is, I've pulled it out a couple times and used it, and it's just incredibly tack sharp. It's also, the autofocus on this is a little bit faster than on the 80. So it's noticeably. So let's talk about that. So what's the one thing I gave up? The biggest thing I gave up in going from the full frame Canon system to the GFX is the eye tracking capabilities. That is on my Canon R5, the R5 Mark II, and on their other models, the eye tracking is literally beyond anything that you could imagine. After 45 years of taking pictures, the ability to just go click, click, click. My 51.2, I don't even think about focus. I just go bop, 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 bop. In portraits, people moving, and it's just every time. It's like 99.9% accurate. Good testimony. And there's other manufacturers now that have cameras that can do that. With the GFX has the eye tracking also. And I would say that because I'm on a tripod a lot, even when I'm hand holding it, I would say it's about 90%, maybe 95. It's pretty rare that I have a out of focus that misses its focus, but it has happened. And so I have to be aware of that, because now, say 5 years ago, I would have thought this was the greatest thing on the planet. But after using the Canon, the latest eye tracking and the full frame digital cameras, really on another plane of incredible technology, I'm still happy with this. It's just that I have to be aware of that. All right. So that's the one thing I give up. The other thing I give up is that when you have a Canon system or the other manufacturers out there, they have a huge line of lenses. So if you're a wildlife photographer and you want to get a 600 millimeter 5.6 lens or whatever, I don't even own any of those lenses, or never have, but you're not going to have that option here. But there are some options that you can do with some adapters. I'll explain that in a minute. But I don't think you're going to take a 600 millimeter with an adapter and put it on here. You might, but I haven't seen anyone that I know of that's done that. But that option's out there. So you have a little bit less choice of lenses, but I would say also in some ways that's a plus. Because what happens is I've got, on my Canon system, I've got a 10 to 20 super wide. It's a pretty lightweight lens. I had the 11 to 24 monster lens, carried that with me all the time. That thing weighed a ton. So I had all these Canon lenses, and it got heavy. My bag got heavy. And so, you know, you're always afraid, oh, if I don't bring that, I might need it, right? Okay. So with less options, I think that my bag is, I think in some ways lighter. So the weight is not a problem with me anymore. The other thing that came out of this whole system is that I can take the adapter, this is the Fringer EF to GFX adapter. So my EF lenses now can be put on here. So here's the 35 1.4. It's the EF, not the RF. It's the older EF, but version 2. I love this lens. And so I can now use it on here. There's a slight vignette, which I can fix in Photoshop, or I mean in Lightroom or in Bridge. And so I get that same perspective. Now this is important to understand. I get the same perspective of a 35 millimeter on my Canon system as I do here. The difference is that the Fuji sensor is bigger, so you get the same perspective, subject to background, same bokeh, same everything, except you get a wider canvas of view. So I still get what I want out of here and any other lens I put on there. So that's why it's really hard to explain to people that when you say, well, it's a 35 millimeter, but it acts like a 28 or whatever equivalent. No, it doesn't. It gives you an angle view of a 28, but it still gives you your perspective of a 35 millimeter or whatever lens you have. So I love it. And it's very sharp. It works incredible. Autofocus works. Again, not as fast as my Canon R5, but it does, the eye tracking works on this system. The other thing that I did not lose is the ability to use my tilt shift lenses. Now, Fuji has two new tilt shift lenses that are incredible. I don't own them. I have a couple friends that do. They swear by them, but they're big. So for example, here is, let me give you this is my 17 tilt shift. 17 is pretty wide. And when I put this on here, if I don't shift it around, I get zero vignetting. It's beautiful. So I get a true 17 millimeter. So I have a 20 millimeter here, but I can get a 17 out of here. And if I start shifting around, I can go wider, and I can get about 11 millimeter, if I stitch it, 11 millimeter angle of view with this lens. And so in a pinch, if I have to go super wide, I can pull this lens out. I don't always carry it because, again, it's another lens gets a little bulky, but I have that. I have my 24 tilt shift, absolutely stunning. I can do some panos with that and get some beautiful files. Now, here's my 90 tilt shift. And I'm so glad I still have this is because I'm doing all my copy work of my 4x5 negatives and transparencies, my 120s, and even my 35 millimeters. I'm using the Canon tilt shift it's a 90 millimeter, it's a macro lens. So I'm able to go and get no vignetting, clean, crisp, absolutely sharp images using my tilt shift 90. So if you're gonna do a lot of copy work or, with the GFX system, like I'm doing, I got thousands of sheets of film I'm copying. This is a great choice to have. Lastly, I have, my son kind of coached me on this. It's the TT Artisan 50 millimeter 0.95 aperture lens. And it does have a little bit of vignetting, but when you shoot this wide open, it's creamy as you can get. And the shallow depth of field for tight portraits is absolutely stunning. I'll post one or two of those. I haven't shot a lot of this. It's a manual focus lens, but all I do is set my system up here to where the focus point has a color highlight. I put yellow because I'm colorblind, so yellow is easy for me. So I just focus until I hit the eyelash and fire. And so I'm getting very good results with this, even though it's manual focus. It slows you down a little bit, and at wide open, you're probably going to lose a little bit of image degradation. Not much. I found it to actually be pretty good. But you got to remember that a 0.95 lens, the technology here to shoot wide open with aberration, is a lot to pull off. And I think they did a really good job on it. And there's a couple other manufacturers that have some lenses that I've seen some reviews on. I don't know all the brands, but some really interesting things that can come out here. So I have a kit here that I think fulfills my vision as an artist. I do give up a little bit of that with the eye tracking, but I think overall I'm very happy. So here's the last thing I would say. If you're interested in possibly going to medium format, I think I would recommend the system. There's some other options out there. The Hasselblad is one. You're gonna be paying more, especially for the lenses. The downside with this is the sync speed is at 1/25. So when you're shooting outdoors, remember your sync speed is at 1/25. Well, my Canon was 200, so it's a little bit of an issue. However, with the new high-speed sync strobes that I have, the new Westcott, the FJ800s, I can shoot out in full sunlight and high-speed sync and get knocking down the background to get what I need. And so it's not as big of an issue as it would have been, let's say, a few years ago, where you want that higher sync speed. But it's working for me. It is a little bit of a hassle, but with the high-speed sync, don't run out and buy a medium format unless it fits the vision that you have. You can handhold this, yes. And there's some video capabilities here that are amazing. But really, it comes down to the 16-bit capture to give me the bit depth that I need. Megapixels is great too, but it's the 16-bit. And I can tell you after, really 20 years of doing HDR and stitching images, that true 16-bit file is to me, it's a game changer, and it is a dream come true. And so that is the main reason why I would go with this camera. If you don't need a 16-bit file, there's no reason to pick this thing up. Absolutely none. And I see people going, well, I got you can switch it to 14-bit or 16-bit, which is actually an incredible option if you say, I don't need all those big files, but I would never put this on 14-bit. I've got cameras that go, a lot easier to use that I can shoot 14-bit. It's the 16-bit that makes all the difference in the world. And so that's why I'm absolutely tickled to be using it.